This is Rick Theriault, your Maine Real Estate Guide, and today I'm on location in the town of Patten, Maine, once again on Waters Road. What we've got coming to market today, folks, is a wonderful piece of property. It's 184 and a half plus or minus acres of recreational timberland, and we're going to take a walk here in a little bit and head into the interior of the property. We're going to do what a lot of real estate agents won't do, and that's get off the tar. And we're going to head back there and take a look at all this property has to offer. But here's a thumbnail sketch. It's 184 and a half plus or minus acres of recreational timberland. It's been in this family for well over six decades, and it started its life years ago as a potato farm, and then transitioned into a cattle farm, and then ultimately into a Christmas tree farm. And then in the last 20 or so years, the Christmas tree farm has gone by the wayside. So there are still about 42 acres of Christmas tree plantations here, and we'll take a look at those. And there's some timber value there because they're growing up into studwood size logs at the moment. But this is a great piece of property. It's got well over 2,400 feet of frontage on the Waters Road, plus about 2,350 feet of frontage on the Shin Pond Road. So it's got great public road access with utility power. So you can get here year round. You could build a traditional home or off-grid home or park a camper here, whatever you want. This is a great parcel coming to market at $270,000. And you're going to want to give Rick Theriault, your Maine Real Estate Guide, a call at area code 207-731-9902 to get the latest information about it. But we're going to take a close look at everything here and talk a little bit more about the property as we walk. So here we are on the Waters Road, and it's a nice paved year-round access road. And the Waters Road is here in the town of Patten, Maine. And from here, you can be at the grocery store in downtown Patten at Ellis's Market in probably 5 minutes. And that's just a great grocery store. Patten's a nice little community. Roughly 900 year-round residents live in Patten. And in the town, you can find Ellis's Market, you can find Richardson's Hardware, you can find healthcare. Katahdin Trust has a bank there. You can pretty much do everything you need to do for business right in downtown Patten. But where we're standing here is kind of towards one of the ends of the property. As I mentioned, this had most recently been a Christmas tree farm. Now, these Christmas trees are long since gone by. They got to be some of them 40, 50 feet tall, and some of the trunks are 10 plus inches at breast height, so they're studwood size. So you can make 2x4s or 2x6s out of those. But this is a fantastic property that has served this family well over 60 years. You know, the kids that are selling the property grew up here on the farm, and they planted the Christmas trees by hand back in the day, and recreated on the property. Roe Brook, that we'll get back to here when we get further in, is a nice little trout stream. You're not going to catch, huge brook trout there, but you'll catch, 6 to 8 inch, maybe a 10-inch native brook trout right on that 3,600 feet of frontage on Roe Brook. With 184 and a half acres, you're going to find all kinds of wildlife, ruffed grouse, snowshoe hare, white-tailed deer, and more. We've just had a snow here last Friday, day after Thanksgiving, so I'm anxious to see what we see for animal tracks as we traverse through the property. Here on this left side of me is, as you can tell, is a tree plantation. The trees are all in nice, neat rows. So from a timber perspective, you get a lot of density in a plantation, a lot of cords per acre. So these trees add up pretty quickly. So in addition to the roughly 42 acres of planted forest land, the remainder of the property has grown into predominantly a mixed wood forest, and it's been harvested several times over the last 50, 60 years and continues to grow and produce. There's a nice bunch of old trails that were used to get in here, not only to harvest trees, but also to get in here and maintain the Christmas trees when they were younger. You know, they've long since gone by, so now it's the best thing to do with them is cut them into studwood. And you know, if you wanted to get into the tree farming business, you know, cut these old ones down and plant some new ones. So I've been walking along. I'm right about in the center of the lot right at the moment, and that brings up an opportune time to talk about the topography of this parcel, which is tax map R8 lot 17 here on the Waters Road in Patten. The topography is relatively flat and gently sloping. The high point of the land is up near where I parked at Waters Road, and then it slopes gradually down towards the brook, Roe Brook, which runs down through about 2/3 of the way through the property, and there's 3,600 feet of frontage on Roe Brook. And down there it's roughly 650 feet of elevation above sea level, and so you get around 90 feet of elevation change from the low point to the high point on this property, which is nice from a management standpoint. Where I'm standing right now is what would have been an old logging trail that could be cleared to be, you know, a walking path, a cross-country ski trail, or just better access to the interior of the property. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. All right, so you can kind of make out the footprint of the trail, which extends down into that direction there. And these trees that are growing up in it, if you just let them continue to grow, they would in time become, you know, merchantable timber. Right now they're not very big. This one here, oh, I don't know, it might be 3 inches in diameter. And those of you that have followed Rick Theriault, Your Maine Real Estate Guide on YouTube for a while, may have seen the video I did, or a couple videos I did with my Bombolite forestry mulcher that runs off the PTO on my tractor. And you could clear these trails real easy with that machine, because that's made to handle up to a 3.5 inch diameter tree and chew it right up to ground level. And the soil here on this property is predominantly silty loams for the most part over the 184.5 acres, and it's not described as being very stony at all. So using that forestry mulcher for the most part would be pretty straightforward without any danger of breaking a tooth or something on a big rock. But this, if you wanted to clear these trails so that you can navigate back here and actually manage the land instead of just letting it grow wild as it has been here for the last, I don't know, 15 years or so, you could do that. You know, you could come back here in the, you know, if you're a hunter and you wanted to improve it for wildlife, you could come back in here and clear, you know, some smaller patches, you know, clear an acre or two here in the interior, grind up all the smaller trees, till it, you know, and plant a food plot back here. And it would be a nice secret place for deer and other wildlife to work their way to get a bite to eat and not be bothered because they're back away from the road. And a lot of these stems that you see sticking up here about 40 feet tall. Those are popple or aspen. And that tree is a softwood variety, although it's deciduous. It's relatively soft. It grows relatively quickly, and it's a kind of a pioneer plant. When you cut an area of forest land in Maine, the seeds from popple are carried a long ways in the wind, and they'll settle in these open areas and sprout. And they grow relatively quickly in comparison to other tree species. So oftentimes popple is one of the first merchantable species of tree that you'll have on a parcel of woodland. But the striking difference between the managed portions of the property, which were planted into Christmas trees, and how thick it is in the areas where nature is just able to do its own thing, is striking. Now, given time, a forest will mature to the point where a lot of the smaller stems will be outcompeted by other varieties and they'll die back. But it takes a long time to get to that state. Whereas if you actively manage a piece of woodland through judicious use of the chainsaw and other forestry equipment, you can enhance its capabilities to produce high quality timber. And this acreage could benefit from it. It has, I would say, looking at the size of these trees, it was the large majority of it, about roughly 140 acres of it that were just natural forest, was probably cut pretty hard back about 10 or 15 years ago from the looks of this regen. And so it's going to take another 10 or 15 years before it's really mature. But during that time, you can really enjoy this property as a recreational wildlife place. It does have a couple of improvements. I can't remember if I mentioned them in the beginning or not. Back along the road on the Waters Road, there's one place where there's a cleared, roughly half-acre lot that has a dug well and a septic system. And then along the Shin Pond Road, there are two similar lots that are cleared there that have dug wells and septic systems. And those were rental lots back in the past. And they could be again, or they could be a place that you, if you don't want to build a permanent structure, but you want to visit here during either the hunting or summer recreating vacation lands season, they'd be great places to park a camper, an RV, and have access to everything that the Patten, Mount Chase area has to offer. This is a really beautiful part of the world, part of the Appalachian Trail. In many parts of town, you get great views of Mount Katahdin, and here in Patten, you get in Mount Chase, you got all kinds of smaller peaks that are part of that Appalachian Trail. You got the north entrance to Baxter State Park, which goes through Patten and Mount Chase. And you also have the entrance to the Katahdin Woods and Waters National Monument, which is another recreational area that was recently opened here in this area. But if you like to snowmobile, cross-country ski, ATV, hunt, fish, this Patten, Mount Chase area is a great destination. So I made it to Roe Brook, and we'll walk along it for a ways, but on the side I'm standing on, which is to my left, if I head back out that way, I'm going to come out on the Waters Road where I'm parked. If I were to cross the brook, the land on the opposite side is also part of this property. So the 3,600 feet of frontage on Roe Brook, for the most part, you own both sides of the brook. So there's quite a bit of acreage on that side of Roe Brook, which comes out, if I were to cross the brook and head uphill, I'll come out on the Shin Pond Road. So both the Waters Road and the Shin Pond Road are year-round accessible, paved roads with electricity. Again, there's 2 cleared half-acre lots with wells and septic on the Shin Pond Road, as well as one cleared lot with well and septic on the Waters Road that were used as rental lots for trailers and campers in the past. But down here along the brook, we've got a denser forest because of the limitations of harvesting. Now, within the shoreland zone of all bodies of water, that the amount of volume that you're allowed to harvest is protected. So to keep erosion down, also to help the brook trout population that's here, because brook trout require cool water and clean water. And if you were to cut all the trees around here, the sun would get at it and dry it up considerably, but also raise the temperature. And that would be no good for the native brook trout that call Roe Brook home. So if you've been in the market for a piece of recreational timberland and are looking for one that ticks off a lot of boxes, this one here on the Waters Road, R8 Lot 17, the Heath Farm, is a great one. It's got pretty much everything that a recreational land buyer has been looking for. Great access, power at the street, good soils, wildlife, a water feature. Just you want to give Rick Theriault, your Maine Real Estate Guy, a call at area code 207-731-9902. Let's take a walk on this 184.5 acres and figure out whether this is a good fit for you and make it yours. As I was walking along here on the property, I'm near the back line at the moment. It's still along Roe Brook. What you see behind me is the remnants of an old beaver dam. It's long since gone. The beavers have moved on someplace else. They may be back here in the future, but they follow the food. They probably were here until they ate everything that was edible and attracted to them, and now they've moved on to greener pastures, so to speak. But this clearing that's back here is, that was caused by them flooding the area, killing off the trees, comes back into grasses and bushes, which are attractive to all kinds of wildlife. When I approached this area, I started seeing deer tracks and fox tracks and rough grouse tracks. So they're finding their way to this clearing along Roe Brook here back in the woods. We're roughly a little better than half a mile from either the Shin Pond Road or the Waters Road at this location. But I want to take this opportunity for those that have stuck through to the end of this video. I often forget to ask, but we're beginning to grow this channel. Again, my name is Rick Theriault. I'm your Maine Real Estate Guide. I've been in the real estate business here in this part of Maine for over 12 years, but I've recently left the brokerage that I had been with since I first got licensed, and I'm now with Keller Williams. And so we're in the infancy stage of growing this channel. So if you like what you see here, which is raw, unscripted, authentic real estate video, then you come to the right place. And if you like what you see, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, maybe a comment, and perhaps you'd subscribe and ring that bell for future notifications as we bring more and more real estate properties to you on YouTube. So I thank you for your support. Until next time, this is Rick Theriault, your Maine Real Estate Guide, on location in Patten, Maine.